I'm Renee.
And I'm Anthony, and we are the voices, healers, and channelers behind Blue Soul Earth. We connect to higher levels of consciousness to bring forth divine energies, to heal and to teach ancient wisdom.
These energies that we access from higher dimensions largely consist of the ascended masters that humanity across cultures knows really well. They are many, but they speak collectively as one voice. And for simplicity's sake, we call them our spirit team.
How we channel as a couple is very unique. The energies we channel come down through Renee's crown chakra, through her solar plexus, into my solar plexus, and then back up through my crown chakra, and it forms a three-dimensional triangle that's used to heal and to teach.
These energies flow through us a bit like an infinity 8. The symbolism behind why and how this happens is actually pretty profound.
It's actually accessing divine feminine and divine masculine energies, weaving them together to form one energy to heal and to teach.
We will be channeling different topics in roughly 10 to 15 minute segments that will be part of our Blue Soul Wisdom series.
So if you're just starting out on your spiritual journey,
or if you'd like to access higher levels of consciousness,
or you'd like to take your healing practice to the next level,
then join us.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Anthony.
And I'm Renee again.
Hi, I'm Anthony.
And I'm Renee, and we are here today to talk about timelines. Timelines that exist for humanity, timelines that exist in a quantum field, and how we can better understand these timelines to help us heal some of the karma and trauma that exists.
Timelines are very interesting. Our spirit team has shown me that they look very similar to pieces of hair upon your head. You can separate them, you can pull one out, or you can cross them together.
And sometimes we may not even realize it, but we're crossing into other timelines where we exist in other dimensions and other realities without even realizing it. They show up as things like deja vu moments.
Yes, they do, don't they? We're going to call our spirit team now and have them talk about timelines and what they mean for human beings and how they represent a quantum field as well.
And how better understanding them can increase our awareness of who we are and the power that we have, remembering always that we are spirit and energy first and human second.
And then everything else third.
So Anthony is connecting to our spirit guides, which largely make up ascended masters. And we're going to have a chat with them in a minute about timelines, quantum fields and realities, and multiple yous.
It is always an honor and privilege to be in your presence, Gaia. Thank you for receiving us.
Thanks for being here. We know that you have educated us on so many occasions about timelines and how they impact us in our day-to-day lives, and how better understanding them allows us to better understand the quantum field. It allows us to better understand the impact that all of our actions and our thoughts have on this timeline and others.
Let's start here. What are timelines? Timelines are nothing more than energies that exist in the Akash. Now, the Akash is everything that you are. All of the memories and all of the lifetimes that you are now. Each time that you exist here on the earth plane and elsewhere, the Akash is there to let you know everything that you have learned. Why is it important to have timelines? It is the timelines that is the accumulation of the knowledge that you have gained. Actually, it's the accumulation of experiences that you've gained. Some nice some not so nice. But it is up to you as the soul to decide on which timelines you desire to use. The more experience you gain, the higher your vibration becomes. Now, we will give you an example of timelines. These are like your timelines.
Incense.
Yes. They all smell very good, don't they? Let's say, for example, this particular timeline is causing you a great deal of pain. What are you going to do with it? You're going to make the intention that this timeline here comes out. Take it, burn it, if you choose. Smell it.
How do people know which timeline is creating angst and trauma and showing up? Almost like, it sounds like it's like a residue effect, that there's residue left over from a particular timeline that's showing up in this timeline, in this life.
How do they know that? Because there are people like you and Anthony and other light healers that will tell them that they have trauma. It is not so difficult to know that you have trauma. It is not so difficult to know that you have trauma. What's difficult is to take the trauma, to pull it out, and to recognize it.
This is the alchemy process. So can you talk to people about how they can help transmute something and through a beautiful alchemy process, raise the vibration and heal?
You will set the intention. You will light it. With this intention, you will say that this particular timeline, this anxiety, this pain is no longer a part of my timeline. In any form that you desire to do it, whether it is through light work or through shamanic work, it can be done. You decide on which method you want to use.
But the intention is the most important thing here, right?
It is indeed. You can use ayahuasca if you want to get there, or you can use your prayers, or you can use light workers to help you. That is why we told you from the beginning, we don't care how you get there, just get there. But it is up to you to decide whether you want this timeline here or you want it
to squash it out.
You decide to replace it now with something different. You see? You've taken out one timeline, disconnect it, and put in another one.
And this impacts the multiple yous that are out there in the universe.
What you do in this lifetime is going to affect all of your other lifetimes as well, in all of the timelines that make up the multiple yous. You see, everything is connected. Like the hairs upon your head, they may look like they're one, but they're all individual timelines. This is how it is. It is very difficult, though, to take one particular hair and to single it out because they're all connected. But you can do it if you have the desire. These are like your timelines.
So a timeline that can exist, for example, could be another reality that's running along parallel to this one that you have in this life. So imagine you're married and your partner and you have another timeline together in which you have kids in that timeline, but you don't have kids in this timeline.
Or that is to say, you have the experience of having children in one lifetime, and you have the experience of having no children in another lifetime.
But they can be running along parallel. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the way that we interpret a past life.
That is correct. They are so close together that sometimes they weave together That is when timelines and deja vus come into contact with each other.
So, for example, you're on a trip to Europe and suddenly you meet somebody in a restaurant and you have this feeling
that you know that person somewhere else.
And maybe you're actually having an experience with them in another timeline that's very closely connected to this one.
That is exactly right. Sometimes the timelines cross like the hairs on your head. What you're doing in one timeline, you're doing it in the other as well. And they cross. You meet somebody, you know this person, but you don't know how you know the person. That is why when you have your clients come to us and we tell them, you've already done this before. You don't need to do it again. Move on. You see, we can tell and we can read all of the timelines, or better yet, the experiences of the multiple yous. And that it no longer serves you, this particular timeline. You've experienced it already. Burn it. Get rid of it. Move on.
What can people do to unlock from that grid that is not so healthy?
They have to desire it. They have to want it. They have to set the intention. But how do they do it? How do they initiate it? Well, that's a good one, isn't it? There is no one particular answer for that, and you know that. But what we can tell you is this: they must stay in a field of residence that is referred to as love. That is the only thing that's going to get them out of the pain, the physical pain, the emotional pain, the psychological pain. If they can get themselves in this field, then they will slowly start to realize that the emotional charge that is a part of their divorce no longer needs to be. They have literally taken this charge out. They have extracted it, and they have put in another charge. They have decided to replace it with love. Who you are is who you become. The frequency with which you decide to resonate is the frequency that you will become in this lifetime.
It's kind of like you become what you eat, and you become who you spend your time with.
If you put garbage in your body, what becomes of you? Garbage. If you put wholesome food in your body, you become wholesome. You should be in the frequency of kings and queens of light energy.
Which is love energy.
That is correct. Yes. Now you're catching on, aren't you? And with that, we will take leave.
Okay.
Thank you for receiving us.
Thanks for coming into this timeline.
Yes, that is correct, isn't it?
Yeah.
We are in this timeline.
At the moment, you're about to leave this timeline, but we appreciate you being here now to help us better explain to others.
We are in your other timelines as well, in a different way.
They're in all of our timelines. Thanks for being here, guys.
Thank you for receiving us. Time to go.
So our guides are leaving now. They're unplugging from Anthony's auric field and from this timeline. Although, as they so beautifully said, and humorously so, they exist in all of our timelines. And so our guides are there on all of these dimensions, if you like, to assist us in our direction.
There are multiple us's, I guess, multiple yous, and they are affecting everything that we do.
If you could imagine in a circular way rather than a linear way in the way that we think in the human field, that in this quantum world, everything that we do here affects everything else, both in this timeline and this reality, but also in other realities.
Kind of like ripples.
Ripples indeed. So
Yeah.
if there's a ripple in your life that is negative, or as our guides never like to say, negative, but further from the light, or not serving your best interest.
Then you know what you can do? Change that ripple, that timeline, to something that's more positive.
Exactly.
Like love.
Like love, with brighter light and more illumination. And in that way, all the negative energy and the drama that comes into your field, you become such a bright light that it simply bounces off your light.
Or as our guides say, it becomes absorbed into your light.
Right. And in that alchemy way, it becomes transmuted and you become an energy field of love.
Thank you for being with us, and we look forward to working with you again.
Absolutely. Take care, and we hope to see you soon.
Bye-bye now.